I'm live. Okay, so people are gonna be coming in. This is so cool. This is my first time on live, y'all. All right, people. Carrie, Morgan, what's good? It's 7 p.m. Bree's here. Hey, Bria. Jamal. Okay, this is Meet the People live, y'all. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come in. But if y'all were looking at my story, you guys said that I should have wine. So I brought out my favorite drink, which is rosé. Hey, Bria. So, oh, and Erin is here. So let me just tell you guys a little bit about what Meet the People is. Meet the People is a YouTube channel I started in 2014, right after graduation. And the purpose of it was to interview dope people across the country. And I've been doing that. But you know, with life, things happen. And I realized when this whole quarantine happened, you gotta be back at home and stuff. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna join this whole little IG live gang. Everybody else is doing it, so I'm gonna jump off the bridge with them. And I decided to join the whole IG live gang and decided to bring Meet the People live and interview dope people. And my first guest is one of my favorite people ever, okay? One of my favorite people ever. Her name is Erin. Erin, I don't know if I can say your last name, but she's ErinOnDemand, and she's one of the dopest people. Like, literally, she's goals. When I was at Howard, I looked up to her, and so she's a Howard University grad. She is a content creator, brand strategist, and she has a company by the name of ErinOnDemand that she started. But before then, she was also one of the first ever digital correspondent for National Geographic. And then after that contract ended, she moved back home, y'all. Moved back home, and I literally saw this all play out on Facebook. Moved back home and started her own company, and ErinOnDemand, which literally helps businesses of all sizes maximize on their presence when it comes to creative content. But she also has a YouTube channel that I hope you guys follow. Probably some of y'all do. Has a YouTube channel, ErinOnDemand, that gained over 100,000 followers in 1 year. 1 year. All right, so I've talked enough about her. I'm about to bring her in, and we're about to my first ever live on my Instagram with ErinOnDemand. We're waiting for her to come in. And I think she's here. Hey.
How are you?
How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. What an intro.
Yes. Did I do you justice with your bio?
You did. Thank you.
I was like, goals, all over the place.
Yes.
You're absolutely amazing. I was like, for everyone that's watching, I literally saw you grow from when you started your YouTube channel and said, I'm moving back home. And yeah that's happening.
Yeah, it all played out. I think that's what kind of made everyone just like so stunned by how everything happened, because I really did document everything. And so I feel like everyone, like my internet friends and just Howard friends and family, have just been able to be on the journey with me. So it just makes it even more rewarding. But yeah, thanks for having me. You're killing the game too.
I'm doing all right. But I got you on the show, so that makes it even better. And I'm so happy you agreed to come on. But before we start this interview, this is Meet the People. And if you don't know what Meet the People is meeting people that are doing dope things. But we're about to play a Meet the People game, okay?
And why didn't you tell me you were going to have wine? Because I have lemon water, so that's not fun.
I'm sorry. I wish I could virtually give it to you. I made the decision last minute. I asked Instagram if I should do water or wine. So I have my Deer Park. Even though I'm not sponsored by Deer Park. I have my Deer Park here. But then I was like, should I have water or should I have wine? So I have both, but everyone on Instagram said to do.
Yeah, definitely wine.
I got to bring out the rosé.
Yes.
So I'll be drinking for both of us.
Do that. I'll have a glass after this is over.
So this is the Meet the People game, and I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and you have to guess which celebrity this is.
Okay.
Okay? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, this celebrity, she starred in a Disney movie.
Okay.
She performed the national anthem at the Super Bowl, and she's from...
Demi Lovato.
No, she's from the South. You get 3 guesses.
I am so bad with all things celebrity. Like, I contrary probably to popular belief, I don't keep up with celebrity stuff. So, okay, my first guess was Demi Lovato. Is she black?
I can't tell you. Three things. Three things.
Okay, you was kind of like about to
I,
say yes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
She's from the South.
A lot of people are from the South.
I know. I made it. It's so easy though. When you're, it's not that easy.
Wait, who is it? I don't know.
It's Beyonce.
Oh,
I need.
wow. What Disney movie?
Isn't Lion King Disney?
Oh, well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
is that Pixar or Disney?
Ooh, awkward. I think it's Disney.
Oh, maybe it is Disney. Well,
y'all can play along also.
Dang, I wish I had got that right because I love me some Beyonce.
Play along. I'll wave at you guys.
I'm in the Beehive, so
you're in the Beehive, and I thought of you because when your voice went out, you like sounded like her.
I do.
I was like, oh.
I love when I get a little hoarse because I sound like Bee.
I'm Queen Bee.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next person is all right. He had his own TV show. He's a comedian, and he's worked alongside Will Packer.
Girl, I'm horrible. I'm
y'all guys can help her out.
Yeah, can I call a friend? Can I like have a lifeline or something? Yeah, I don't even know who to guess. I mean, had his own late night show. Help me, people. Bernie Mac.
No, not Bernie.
Martin.
No, not Martin. Okay, he had his own TV show. He's a comedian, and he's worked alongside Will Packer. I really hope that there hasn't been another one.
Is it a TV show or a talk show? Great question, Elena.
TV show. All right.
Will Smith?
No, I'm just going to say it. It's Kevin Hart.
Oh, okay. Dang it. I'm horrible. Okay, I have to get one.
Real Husbands of Hollywood, y'all. And Will Packer, that's all who he does movies with.
Yeah, he does do. Yeah, that's true. He does.
All right. So you weren't the greatest at that game, but it's okay.
No, I'm horrible.
We're meeting you. All right. So.
Hi, Clark.
Yes. Hey, Clark. Yeah, we're meeting you. So my first question is, who is Erin Winters?
I was cracking up when you said, I don't know if I can say her last name.
Dang.
First of all, my last name is about to change, but you know, but I think it's so funny that people now call me ErinOnDemand when that was intended to just be my business's name. And now it's kind of like a stage name, almost like like a stage name. But I would say, wow, that's a very loaded question. Like, who am I? I would say that I'm definitely very much a family girl. I love spending time with my family and just hanging out, watching movies and playing games and cooking dinner. And I think that is like a big reason why I am who I am, is because my family is just always like my rock and my foundation. And even the other day I was rearranging my desk space.
Yeah.
And so many people were like, oh my God, I love how much your parents are so involved. Like, my parents were in here helping. My mom was like, I think you should go this way. And my dad was like moving the desk. And, you know, I've always had a great support system. So, you know, I think that is a big reason why I've been able to see the success that I have had, not even just in my business, but just with all of the opportunities that have come my way over the years. I went to Howard, which is how we collided. And I really thought that my journey was journalism in terms of like reporting and news pretty much. And I fell out of love with it, but I still loved storytelling. And I was like, you know, I feel like there is something more for me in this lane, but it's not in the form of news.
Yeah.
And it really took time for me to kind of come to that, because at Howard, I was like, in, you know, in School of C, and like, you know, doing all these packages and ripping around the city, and like had all these internships, and, you know, it was kind of like, that's who everyone expected me to be. And to come to this like realization that that was no longer what I wanted was a very tough wake up for me. And I think that I'm so glad that I did that at that point at such a young age. It was my senior year of college too. So like that was the time where I was supposed to be like applying to jobs and finding all these, you know, opportunities. And I was just like, I don't like this. And you know, I think having that moment at a young age and then being like, okay, how can I channel what I did learn and not put all that in vain and do something different, but that felt more like me. And that's kind of how I ended up on this path that I'm on now, with just creating more in the digital space and being more having more creative freedom with the types of stories that I tell, and who I'm able to help and work with and things like that. So that kind of led into, you know, the whole, you know, National Geographic, and then, you know, me starting ErinOnDemand, which I'm sure you'll ask me about, you know, soon. So I would say that's pretty much like who I am. I'm also engaged, so I'm sure a lot of people know that, who know me or follow me.
50,000.
I got engaged. Yeah, I got engaged last November, and yeah, we're excited. We're building a house, and we are, you know, planning our wedding and all of those things. So lots of exciting things. I think, you know, things are just shaping up, and I feel like I'm finding who I am more and more every day by just operating in my own truth. So
Talk to me about that moment, though. That moment that you realized, like, maybe news wasn't like where this was a different path that I wanted to go on. Like, maybe I go after these jobs where I don't have to necessarily submit a resume. Because
yeah, yeah. So I've never gotten a job where I submitted a resume. It was always a video that I submitted where I got a job. So my very first job out of college did not require my degree. It was a spokes. It was called the Young and Free Michigan Spokester, and I basically represented this Michigan credit union, and I was able to run their blog and like run their YouTube channel and run their social media. And it was like the picture perfect job, but like it was for a credit union. So I was like, well, like, why can't this be offered at like, you know, I don't know, some cool, you know, fun sounding place.
yeah,
But I think that that job really, when I saw the listing, my aunt actually sent me the listing. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is a sign that there are opportunities out there that that literally seemed like it was created for me. Like the way that the job listing was structured. And I had to compete with all these people in Michigan who were like super talented. It was basically like a casting call. And then I got the job. So I would say that moment, it was very tough because, like I said, I was gearing up for that. Like Professor Thomas, who you had, and like all the people in School of C, they really were like, are you sure? Like, you have it, Erin. Like, you can literally go and get a job reporting in front of, you know, the camera. Like, why would you not take this opportunity, at least until you find some stability and at least get your foot in the door? You know, all of those types of sayings, which are, you know, they're looking out for your best interest. It's not like they're trying to steer you in the wrong direction, but it's like, I have always just known, I've always been the type to listen to my gut.
yeah.
And I really let that lead me. And my gut just said no. And so I cried a lot. I did. And then I applied for the job and I got it. And so I was like, you know what? If this happens, like, that means that I'm destined for moving in this direction.
All right, let's talk about that stability because literally you had the job in National Geographic. The contract ended. I don't want to go too much into that because that's not where you are right now. I mean, it was a great part of your life, but can you just talk to me about like leaving there and then deciding like, hey, I'm gonna go back home and let me talk to my parents about how I'm about to move back home into their house,
Yeah.
start this ErinOnDemand and start like talk to me about that. Take me through that process of deciding to do that.
Well, when I decided, it was really not okay, I'm about to start my own business. Like, this is just what I'm doing. It was, I'm applying for jobs, lots and lots of jobs everywhere, and nothing's landing. And that was kind of like the experience that I was going through. And I had actually gotten really close to a job that just seemed perfect. And I could literally like taste it. It was in DC for a company that would have been like, in my opinion, it was like a dream company to work for. And I was like, I just knew, I was like, this is just a godsend. Like, I'm gonna get this job. And I'm like, for goodness sake, I just worked for National Geographic. Like, I'm using all of these things and I'm like, it's gonna happen. And girl, it did not happen. And I was literally so upset. And when that job didn't go through, I was like, I talked to my mom, and she was always more so rooting for me to start my own business. She was always like, you need to just do this on your own. Like, you have something special. You need to go out and like try on your own. And I was scared. Like, I was really scared. But at that point, I'm like, I don't have nothing to lose. I was stuck in DC because my contract with Nat Geo was 10 months and my apartment lease was 12 months. So I had another 2 extra months there. So I was really getting my mind right, trying to like prepare myself for entrepreneurship. I was waking up early, working out in our workout facilities. I was, just doing what I needed to do to prepare myself for what entrepreneurship is, or what I thought it was at the time. And I started pitching to different businesses. I was like, can I do a video for you? I have X amount of, skill sets. And I really feel like, I'm looking on your website, I don't see any video content, and I want to help you in that area. I need to help you tell your story, to connect with the audience that you're missing out on in your business. And it kind of just snowballed. And when I moved home, I talked to my parents. They were very supportive. They wanted me to come home anyway. And they were like, yes, do it. And when I got back home, I started like doing I was still doing contests and trying to find jobs and stuff, but nothing was landing. So I just went all the way in. And literally one morning I woke up and I was like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And I just started it. And that was really the beginning of like everything.
Yeah. And I have to ask you that because a lot of your stuff, like I said, I feel like I've been a part of your journey because I've seen it on social media, and I've like seen, because I've seen it on social media. But did you ever feel like, maybe I don't want to show this side of me, or like maybe kind of nervous to be able to kind of, because everyone sees all the great things that you've done, were you ever kind of like nervous about like putting that out there, if that makes sense?
Well, I've always known how far transparency can go.
Okay.
And I never really felt shame for moving back home, because the way I looked at it was, I'm setting myself up for something. So, if you guys, and I was looking at it too, like, if all of these people or places that I've applied to these contests for saw something special in me, that's all I need. Like, if I can win over the people at Nat Geo, then I can certainly win over a girl who looks and talks and sounds and acts and wants the same things that I want in life. And so, no, I took that as my advantage, and I used myself and my story and all those things that I learned at Howard and I learned through, storytelling, to basically use my business as the guinea pig, of, okay, if I truly document my everything, not everything, but everything in regard to starting a business and my story and where I'm at as far as that goes, then if I can do this, then I can teach other people how to do the same thing. So really, mine was like an incubator for me to be able to help a whole bunch of other people do the same thing.
All right, and that's perfect because like when I think of you and when I think of your business and especially your YouTube channel, it's the hub for entrepreneurs, right? But you started this hub before your business really even got to where it is now, right? So you're starting putting your business out there. What made you decide to give back so early on in your career? Because sometimes people can be like, I'm gonna hold this, I'm gonna hold these gems that I know now, and I'm gonna talk about it in like 10 years once I make it. figuring
Yeah.
things out as you go along, letting people come along with you. What made you decide to do that and to give back? Because that can kind of be, you know, people can kind of get afraid of that. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to get.
Yeah. I feel like the more that you give, the more it just keeps coming back. So like the more, and I notice it's even like a direct transaction, you guys. Like when I give, and this is another like thing. Like when I give more information, it only causes more people to pull into my brand and my business, and then there is more transactions. Like, you know, not to look at it just totally linear, but like really when I have a business, like one of my videos I shared my 7 streams of income, and
Yeah.
my like I was telling, you know, genuinely how much I make from each stream of income that I have, and so many people joined my club and booked strategy calls and did, came into my business from me being so transparent about that. So, you know, it's kind of like the more you give, you just get even more in return. And it's not, I feel like God, not even looking at it from a financial perspective, but like I feel like I've been so blessed, like with student loan forgiveness and with, you know, other people who come into my life, like my virtual assistant or the woman who's editing for me, and like people who have like fallen into my path, because like I'm not stingy with sharing and providing people with value, because we're all trying to make it. And I look at it as, you know, if I can help you and help you enhance your life, then that's just is no amount of value that you can put on that.
That's awesome. And also for those that are just tuning in, we're talking with Erin on Demand, who is a digital strategist. And you guys can also ask questions. I'm going to be doing a Q&A later on in a few minutes. So you can just drop your questions in here. I think you can also do the Q&A area as well. I want to also switch over into like you being an influencer. Like that's what you are. You have a manager.
Girl.
You have a manager now, and you have your company, but you're also an influencer, right? So how do you balance those two? Because now you're putting out these videos, but now you're also getting paid, you're getting these sponsorships, but then you also have this business. How are you balancing those two?
It is a lot. Like now YouTube has become its own thing. Like it's literally like its own machine. It's a business in terms of, I'm still very genuine hearted with all of the content that I put out, but it's also like I get revenue, like I get ads revenue. I have sponsorships now, and you know, people are inviting me for speaking engagements and things like that. So that is its own thing aside from, you know, the eBrand Club and strategy calls and video production and all of those things. So it's like it almost feels like I'm running 2 businesses, even though YouTube is pumping my actual business. Mm-hmm. So it is different. I won't say that I didn't expect for my channel to grow, because my whole hope was that it would reach people that it like who were like me, you know what I'm saying? And so I wanted it to grow, but I didn't know it would grow as fast as it did. And I don't know, it's something I'm getting used to. I have a brand manager now. So when I first started getting brand deals for a long time, I mean, up until like last month, y'all, like I was just ignoring brand emails. I was just like, I can't even think about this, because I have so many other things going on my plate. And I actually, a very huge YouTuber booked a strategy call with me. And I'm telling y'all, like, it's not, don't underestimate who you are just because of like certain numbers that you have. Like, she has millions of subscribers and still, you know, reached out to get help. And so, you know, she was telling me like, yeah, a manager, like if you're making X amount off of your ads, like you can be making way more if you have sponsors. Like, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And I was like, hold up. Said nothing but a word. So and it was funny because a few weeks prior to our call, I had ended up talking to someone who referenced me to her manager. And so like a week after my call with the girl, the manager reached back out and we had a call and she took me on as her client. So now I'm able to like manage that side of my business better because I have somebody else doing it. So, it is like, you can only do so much. And I was just kind of like, well, YouTube is pumping my business. I don't need to spend too much time trying to, like, working with brands is a lot because they have certain things they want in the content. They want it by a certain day. They want the concept by a certain day. There's a lot of steps that go into it. And so, it's a lot. And I was just like, I can't focus on that right now because I have people who are literally paying me to be in this club, that I have to keep running. And so, but, learning how to delegate and things like that have really helped me be able to manage, both sides.
Yeah, and that makes me think, you've heard of imposter syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so when you have these brands, these big brands, or even these big clients coming out to you, do you ever have those moments where you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's natural to be like, wait, me? Like, and honestly, when things kind of come naturally to you, you don't necessarily look at it as like, oh, I'm talented at this, or I have, this skill set. It just feels like this is just me. Like, I'm just, telling you what I know, or like, my take on it. But then people really start to like value your opinion. And I'm like, wait, what? Like sometimes it really does take me aback. And I just have to kind of go in not thinking about the name of the brand or the name of the person that I'm on the phone with, but just like, just treat them like anybody else, because they're just people. And, being nice is like the thing that gets you so far, because I will say this, when you do kind of cross into the influencer territory, like there's a certain expectation that you as a person don't match who you're portraying yourself to be. Okay. And so, you get what I'm saying? Like who you push out, who you portray is not always who you are in person. So, just for me, when you are, working with brands or, experiencing imposter syndrome, just make sure that like, don't put on a front, like be who you are when you're creating that content, because it catches up to you. You never know, what brands you're going to work with or who you're going to work with. And so you just want to make sure that you're just being your genuine self, because that is the first thing that can diminish your brand is people realizing that you're not actually that. And I literally just saw a YouTube video today on people down at Ellen, and I just couldn't believe it. Like literally. Yeah. And and it's like, I mean, I won't say I couldn't believe it, but it's just like, how sad is it that like someone who pushes be kind to one another and like, you're dogging people at a restaurant, you know what I'm saying? Like it just, you always want to just match. So
journalists, I've had the opportunity to interview a lot of different people, and some of them, like, I walked away disappointed because I'm like, dang, they not. Oh, I thought that's what they say. They never meet your heroes.
I know. Dang. It's like you just gotta keep them at a distance, so that way your image of them won't be tainted.
That one way. And one thing that I do have to ask you, as somebody that's like an influencer and as somebody that is constantly putting out content, consistency is key, and you spoke on that. But what happens when that well runs dry? What happens when it's like, dang, like you wake up, or have you had that? Because it might not have happened. I don't want to project it on you, but do you ever have that moment where you're like, I don't know what to put out? Like, what do you say in those moments? How do you push those creative blocks?
I think that I don't know if I've had an experience where I'm like, like I'm stuck, but I have had experiences where I get bored, where I'm like, okay, I know I can do, a great, like literally today's vlog that's going to go out. I literally just talked to my fiance and I was like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like this vlog. It feels like the same vlogs and it's just because like, for one, we're stuck in the house and like, there's only so much that I can do, but it's still also like, I don't know, once you've kind of mastered something, like I've been doing Dan the Lives for a while now, and like also my more informational sit down videos, like I literally had to change my office space around. Like I just changed it like a couple days ago. And doing things like that kind of helped me to continue to like think more creatively instead of feeling like I'm shutting down. So when I do kind of start feeling like antsy or bored or like things are getting mundane, I try to like shift things around, or now I'm thinking about new series that I can roll out onto my channel. And then the cool thing is your audience is gonna tell you what they want. Like I always ask them like, what do you guys like the best? What do you want to see now? What are some video ideas? And what I've also like learned is you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. Like when people like something, like, you know, just like keep doing it. There's something beautiful in repetition. And I think, you know, you can't put so much pressure on yourself for trying to constantly like think of something just new and revolutionary. You kind of just have to like do it and take things for what they are, and like find what you're good at and find your flow and then keep doing it. But you know, I think for now I'm not necessarily like at that point. I haven't experienced it yet, but there definitely are ebbs and flows where I feel like, okay, I can crank out blah 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 blah, and then there are times where I'm like, I don't know, like I need help.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a good thing to be uncomfortable. I tell people that like all the time. I'm like, yeah, like I'm uncomfortable as heck in my life, but at the same time, that's what like fuels you. That's what pushes you. And like oftentimes people say, they're like, okay, you're a little too comfortable with something. You're like, all right, now I gotta switch it up.
Exactly. Like what else is new? Like what can I do next?
Yeah. So people are saying, I'm reading the comments, and people are like, still put it out. So you're still putting out the video, right?
I am still putting it out. I saw Cameron on here. He talking about she putting the video out tonight.
She's still like, okay, Beyonce. No, he got your follow up.
Right.
He said she putting that video out.
Right.
So then I have to ask, like, as an entrepreneur, people say that you guys work 24/7. Is that true? Do you ever have time to like just like have your downtime, or are you always working?
No, I'm not always working. One question I get is, do the weekends feel like the weekends? Yes, they do feel like the weekends, because usually that's where I find my balance is. I try not to overwork on the weekends. If I have to get a vlog up on Sunday, I'll probably wake up on Sunday morning and edit it, or, you know, little stuff, like just little stuff, but I try not to overwork. Now, during the week, I mean, the days can start to all like feel the same. They do go long. I definitely have never worked as hard as I work as an entrepreneur in any other jobs that I've had. And, you know, it's a different kind of work. Do I ever feel like I'm off? No. I never feel like I'm just totally off where I can just like clock out and be like done. Yeah. I'm always checking my email. There's always people coming into the club that we have to add in, whether it's Saturday, Sunday, Friday night, and I'm out and about. Like there are always, you know, projects that I'm juggling or things like that. So can I shut it down? Yes. But, you know, do I ever feel like I'm completely off? No, my mind is literally always thinking about like, how can I make my business better? How can I engage people in my membership club more? How can I, you know, make my videos better, or what new equipment is coming out, or what are the new marketing strategy trends for 2020, and how can, like, it's never ending.
Again, you guys can start dropping in questions. I'm about to go into the Q&A, but I do want to talk about this membership club, eBrand Club. Yes. And your eBrand Club and your YouTube are two different things, right? But your YouTube, but how is your eBrand Club different? So for all those people, you guys can become those members. You can subscribe to your channel, but you can also join the eBrand Club. Right?
Yeah. So the eBrand Club is basically a membership club for people looking to build their brands and businesses. It's definitely geared more toward people who are starting out their business or want to take their content and monetize it and create more of a business stream out of it. So we have weekly live lessons that are an hour long that, you know, I always tell people, if you love my YouTube channel, you're gonna like super love the eBrand Club, because it's like the information on a whole nother level. We do a weekly audit. So I will go in and audit people's Instagrams, their websites, their YouTube channels, and I give like tough love. Okay. So I really go in with like a naked eye and try to give as much constructive like feedback as I possibly can. We also have monthly master classes, so I'll get experts coming in. So last month we had Abu Fofana, who is the master of Facebook ads. We have a photographer coming in this month talking about self photography and how to just like photograph your products and yourself and like thumbnails and all those things in a professional way without like spending a ton of money. It's just like, it's literally packed with information on how to grow on social media and how to really expand your brand to reach the people you want to reach. So
awesome. And then yeah. I have when establishing your price for things, because that's one thing that I've seen you talk about like in your past videos, but that's something that I go through. And I know as entrepreneurs, some people are like, is this too expensive? You know, is my rate too high or whatever? Yeah. How did you go about establishing that price and then kind of being confident in that, developing that confidence? I'm seeing Cam.
Yeah, he's like on it. Go, babe. Okay, right. Yeah, so pricing is always tough. But I definitely kind of boiled it all the way down to supply and demand, which is like literally the most simplistic way to kind of evaluate your pricing. But for me, the way I determine the price is, well, for like the eBrand Club, I wanted to reach people like who may need help and need resources, but couldn't afford to pay for a $1,500 course or couldn't afford to get a $3,000 coach for 10 sessions. You know what I'm saying? Like people are really like capitalizing off of their knowledge, which I'm not mad at that. Like do as you please in your business model. But like for me, I was like, I wanted to be affordable. I know what it feels like to be a new entrepreneur and to not have capital, that much capital to like splurge that much on, you know, that type of investment. And so I made it my point to like, for the eBrand Club, I knew I wanted it to be very affordable. I also knew that I had an audience. And so if I had a lower price point, I could grab more people. So like, when I first started the eBrand Club, it was $20 a month. And I was kind of like, well, what is $20? Like that is something, if you can invest, like you can invest $20 a month into doing more. Yeah. Like how quick do we spend that? The price is now $30 a month because now when you come in, we have a flow going. Like in July, when I started it, it was like, so what are we going to do this week? Like it was kind of just, you know, we were still trying to populate it, figure out what people wanted and needed and how it was going to flow. But now there's like tons of live lessons to rewatch. So we did up the price by $10. But then it's kind of like, okay, the next step would be a strategy call. And for that, it's like, okay, I'm taking literally an hour that I'm dedicating out of my day to like help you in whatever capacity that is. So that needs to be more. So that's kind of like my second tier. Those are $250 for an hour-long session, but it's a la carte. So instead of like how a lot of coaches book and they'll say like, okay, I can be your coach for 7 sessions and that's going to be, you know, I don't know how many thousands of dollars. I try to just take more of an a la carte approach. An a la carte approach. And then like my top tier services are like video production, or I'll have some retained clients where I literally manage their whole YouTube channel. No one will ever know that I manage their channels, but like I literally manage their channels, or I go in and I'll do like actual video production for corporate companies and clients and things like that. So it's kind of tiered, and I think you should look at it as like in terms of time, in terms of how large or small your audience is, and like your own personal financial goals. I have a whole video on my channel about pricing, shameless plug, but where I kind of break down some different things to factor into pricing.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so now I'm gonna go into the questions because there are some questions in here. Some of them are kind of funny. Okay, somebody said, what prayer did Erin say for her man?
Oh my gosh.
You're on Erin's level. What prayer did you say, Erin? You want to drop that prayer?
Oh my gosh. You know, it really, like, Cameron and I have known each other for a long time. We actually went to prom together. Okay. Our wedding, I saw someone ask about our wedding. It's not scheduled until December. So hopefully all this is like blown over by December. but it was work. That's the prayer is the prayer, but then there's like faith without works is dead. So so we really worked on our relationship, and we have kind of seen each other grow through just a lot. And it has been a really cool thing to see how much we've gone from kids to adults. And I don't know, it's been a lot of fun. I would say just work on yourself and yourself in your mind and your self-worth, and know those things, like how, you know, have your confidence, and just pray that you be better too, like not just, you know, how you want your spouse to be, but like pray that you can be of better service to them as well.
That's awesome. Okay, so I kind of asked this, but I guess you can more so get into this. How do you balance being an entrepreneur and making sure you have time for yourself? So I guess if that person's asking, maybe like with your personal life, because like you do have a man, all right? So you gotta go back and make sure your man good and your family and
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
Spiritually, mentally, physically. How do you do that and also be an entrepreneur and having all this stuff that you got going on? Because your pot is full, all right?
It is. I would say, I don't know how much balance is the right word, because it's like some days it's not balanced and like I'm full on work, and then other days it's just like I don't feel like working at all. But it's, I don't know, it's more about prioritizing for me. Like I know that my family honestly is like the very first priority, and if my family life or like my, you know, close relationships or my relationship, almost marriage, falls apart, then my business is like, that's like my foundation. So I can't let those things fall apart. So I always definitely prioritize that over a lot.
Yeah.
And in terms of business, I kind of just try to keep, like, I always do this top 3 method where I choose 3 things that I want to focus on for the day. And like, usually once I finish those 3 things, I'm like, I'm good. You know, if I can tackle more, then I'll tackle more. But like, if my mom is like, Erin, can you come help me cook? Like more likely than not, I'm gonna put my work aside and go help my mom cook, or, you know, talk on the phone to Cameron, or, you know, whatever. So it's kind of like just picking in that moment, what are the most important things for me to do today. And then if I can get to the rest, then I get to the rest. But if not, then I shift them to the next day. And that's been working. The cool thing about entrepreneurship is that you have more control over your time. And so you know, if something gets delayed, or if a YouTube video can't go up that day, like the world doesn't end. Like I don't lose my job. So like so that's, you know, that helps.
All right. Yes, I do have wine. It's actually rosé, Taylor. I see you,
Hey Tay.
Taylor. Okay, so somebody asked, what are some of the skills you really had to learn to grow such a successful channel?
Mm. Skills I had to learn. Well, here's the thing is that I knew video before I started on YouTube. So like it wasn't like I was just entering this space and was clueless. And I think that's a piece that I tried to kind of explain on my channel, because people will look at my growth and be like, dang, like I've been on it for 5 years and I only have blah, 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 blah. And it's almost like, I don't know if y'all have seen this meme, but it's like the iceberg, but then it's like all this like it's like the tip of the iceberg is like over the water, and then it's like all this ice up under the water that like grew the iceberg to be the tip, and people can only see the tip of the iceberg, but they don't see like that the iceberg has been growing for all this time. And I feel like YouTube is like my tip of the iceberg type thing, where it's like I've been working on, you know, my on camera presence, and, you know, working on learning how to edit, and buying camera gear, and, you know, learning how to tell a story. And once I got on YouTube and I kind of had all those tools in my toolbox already, and I kind of could just hit the ground running, and it definitely helped like spring forward my channel. So I would say the biggest thing for YouTube, I mean, since I've been on, is that honestly, the consistency is the hardest part. Like committing is the hardest part. And and also just kind of figuring out like, what do I like on here? Like, what is my jam? Like figuring out like what kind of content you like to create, and getting kind of focused in on that. And then I would say the art of storytelling. I don't think people realize how story driven everything is, but like when you don't have a beginning, middle, end to your video, and you kind of start with like, oh, I don't really know what today is about to bring, but like, come along with me, you kind of like start and you don't really set your intentions in YouTube, like people just fall off. You have to have like a beginning, set the scene, have a storyline. So that's my number one tip.
Okay, so this is my first time on live. I didn't realize you could like
Yeah, I know the show.
Oh, that would make life so much easier.
Yeah.
So this one, she said it was more to it though, but she said, how do you stay motivated throughout the day? And is it a routine you've implemented for yourself? But then she said something about like one day you took a nap in the vlog and got back to it. Did that happen in a vlog?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like I have structure, to my day, but like I'm not overly structured to the point where if I'm sleepy, like I don't just go to the couch and take a nap, or if like I think people think I'm way more type A than I actually am. But I used to wake up really early and kind of get my day started, and I would like have this really great morning routine, and I would like work out and make tea and drink, and like go to the gym and read a book and like do all these things in the morning. And then by noon, I was so slumped. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sleepy. Like, what's wrong with me? And like, I think we kind of fall into this trap that we have to structure our lives the way we see successful people structuring their lives. But I feel like now, and not to say that I won't get back into that at some point of like figuring out, okay, exactly what morning routine or whatever makes sense for me. But now I kind of like let myself wake up. Usually I wake up around 8. And I try to get downstairs by 9:30. I'll fix myself breakfast, and it takes me to like 10ish. And then my mom said, "Def, not type A." Why she gonna throw me out there like that? Till around 10ish, and then I'll get into my work around 10:30, and I don't stop working usually until around 9:30, 10 at night. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm working late, so I'm going to give myself grace in the morning to not be up at 5 a.m., trying to, be what all these other successful people are doing. So I'm trying, like, it's thanks, honey bunny. I'm so happy that you invited me and that we did this. And I'm so excited for everyone who tuned in. Thank you guys so much. I feel like so many people kind of stuck around. I was glancing up at the number and it seemed like it was kind of staying steady the whole time. So thanks for watching. And like, if you guys have any questions, you're welcome to send me a message on Instagram. I'm trying to be better with my DMs, but because it gets a scary place. Okay, it's so many of them in there, but please shoot me a message or an email, and I'll be in touch.
Yeah, and awesome. So last but not least, what's next for you?